Hey everybody, it's Missy. Thanks for joining me again today for another process video. Today's layout is for Citrus Twist kits, and I'm using the 2016 February main kit. It's called Stories. And I'm going to be scrapbooking this black and white picture of me and my husband, and I've picked out all of the elements that I think I want to use on this project. My first thought was I want to use a lot of the yellow elements because I had a lot of yellow things left, and I wanted to start with this black and white polka dotted paper as my background. I do add some blue and some pink, which those seem to be my go-to colors. Blue, yellow, and pink in some form of those three colors, and so that's kind of how this one winds up as well. I'm going to use some white gesso here in the beginning, and I'm just going to use it to white out some of those circles, not completely white them out, but just kind of add a little bit of a faded effect. And I want to toughen up my background paper, so when I start adding wet stuff, it has somewhere to go and it doesn't just seep right through that paper. So that's where my picture is going to go, and I've pulled some light aqua turquoise color blue acrylic paint from my stash, and I'm just going to smudge it around, creating this messy blob of color. And I'm just using an old gift card, I think is what that is. And yeah, it's just an easy way to get some color on your background. And it's different than the packaging technique because this is really thick. You know, I'm not adding any water or anything, so it dries pretty quick as well. So if you try this technique, you know, you put it on your paper and get to smudging pretty quickly because, as you can see, it's pretty much smudged all it's going to go. It's dry. So that's what it's going to look like in the background. And I do add a little bit more later as I go, but that's it for now. Now, I love this yellow paper. It's very bright and very bold, and so I'm going to use a small increment of it as a matte behind my picture. And you're going to be able to see that yellow peeking out just like that. And then I had an idea. I wanted to use this really pretty ombre pink to wood grain paper here, but I decided as I was about to cut it as a matte behind my picture, I thought, oh wait, I'm going to do a die cut through my Cameo, and I wanted a heart. So I cut this heart out that's got the stripes, and then the outline of it was really thick, and so I just took my scissors and trimmed it down a little bit, and I don't even wind up using the die cut. I end up using that right there, which is just the thickness of the heart that I cut off, if that makes sense. So that's the part that I wind up using, and I like that it just adds that little bit of pink. I'm going to save that other striped pink heart for another project because I still love that. So I'm going to incorporate these pink paisley hello, what are those? Acetate plastic pieces. They come in that ephemera pack from the C'est La Vie collection. And I'm going to use those down at the bottom. But I wanted to add a couple more layers behind my picture. And so I'm going to add a little bit more of pink. And that's from that Bloom collection from Maggie Holmes, that cut-apart sheet. And then a piece of the blue paper that is the Citrus Twist exclusive paper. I knew I would get tongue-tied saying that one day. So yeah, I just like a lot of layers behind my picture. I'm going to also use that little gingham. I guess that's what you could call that. It actually, from that Bloom cut-apart sheet too, it was a frame. And so I just like the little extra interest that it gives around the frame of the paper there. So everything that I'm using here is coming from the kits except my paint. All of the papers, all of the bits and pieces are part of the main kit. I'm just trying to add some little doodads here and there, just little bits of interest. I'm going to layer that heart behind there, and I'm going to add a little bit of vellum behind my picture just because it's going to give it a little more dimension, a little more texture, and I just like how it looks. It's very subtle. And I'll use tissue paper a lot, but I have run out and I need to get some more. So I'm going to go ahead and stick all that down because I know that's where I want it to go. And I love how the paint turned out. I love the paint behind there. Now I just have to be careful not to cover it up, because that's what happens a lot when you do mixed media, is you do your background first, and then when you start to layer everything on top of it, all of a sudden you've covered everything up. And so I want to make sure you can see it. And I am going to come back in a minute and add a little bit more to the right, because I feel like it needs some blue over there. And with these little bottles of acrylic paint, it's very easy. Just smush some down and smudge it. It dries pretty quick, so easy peasy. Oh, can you hear that train horn? Wow, that's really loud. I forgot every day around this time there's a train that goes through the middle of our town, and it's very loud. And I live in a little tiny town, so you can pretty much hear everything that goes on. Anyway, I'm going to come in with some pink thread here and just kind of tangle it up and add it underneath the right of the picture. And it's just going to add another pop of pink and, you know, give some texture there and kind of give another messy element to the page. And I just want it to kind of show a little bit through the embellishments. And that black circle is from Pink Paisley, and it says me and you. And then I'm going to use that little together piece. I'm also going to add a little bit of thread to the left here, and that's black. I spend a lot of time trying to get thread to look just the way I like it. Yeah, especially the metallic thread. It gives me fits all the time, but I didn't use any metallic on this one. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is jazz up the bottom half of the page. And I'm just going to cut little messy strips of all the papers that I used behind the picture. I like to kind of echo things that I used in the main part of the layout in smaller little clusters. And so the blue, I just cut that heart out, and then the rest of it is just little paper strips. I want to echo the yellow, the pink, the black and white, and the blue. And then I'm going to layer those hello letters underneath it all. I kind of wanted them to be a little bit abstract, and I am going to run the O off the page. And I hadn't even really planned this part here. It just sort of happened. But I love how it turned out. I glued all those little strips down, and then I'm going to make sure these are straight. And I want hello to go across the bottom here. And I want it to, you know, look not perfect. It's not going to be my title. I kind of just wanted it to be a neat little design element. And I was couldn't decide which way I wanted the H to go, because I know the flowers that are in these letters kind of get lower and lower with each letter. And I almost stuck down the H upside down. So the O is going to run off the page, and that's okay because I wanted it to, and I want it to kind of just look like a little, I don't know what I want it to look like, but that's how it's going to wind up looking right there. Just kind of some yellow in the background. I didn't necessarily want it to be a word that you could read, I guess. Does that make sense? And of course, I had to add some blue. So I come in with the paint. And at first I thought, I've really just messed this up. I didn't like this at first. But once I fix everything together and get it stuck down, I like how it looks. So I'm going to come back in with the black thread again and just layer it underneath the heart and those strips. And now I really like how it turned out. I did some stitching. I just did a little bit of zigzag stitching and some straight stitching through several areas there. And I love how machine stitching looks. It gives great texture and little pops of color. So I decided I'm going to use this little piece here from the Maggie Holmes cut apart sheet, and I fussy cut that out. And so my title is kind of, I guess you could say, it's going to be Together Beautiful. Didn't really plan that to be my title. That's just the way the embellishments kind of work together. So, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be the title, but I wanted to use both of them together because it just looked like that was the right spot for it. So I put in a couple of the Pink Paisley Puffy stickers, and now I'm going to come in with some of the Citrus Twist exclusive stamps. And I believe that one says, "Thank my lucky stars." And then I'm going to come in with my journaling. And I did want those lines to be straight, so I used my T-square ruler and write in a few lines. And I really like how this turned out. When I first started, I just wanted it to be yellow and black and white, and then somehow blue and pink wound up on the page, and I'm glad it did because I really love the final result. The last thing I'm going to do is come in with some black color shine here and just give it some messy splatters. And make sure you check out all the kits from Citrus Twist. The March kits are going to be revealed soon, so check it out. Make sure you check out the blog. There's inspiration on the blog every day. And check out the gallery as well. So there's the final page. I love how it turned out. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. Please let me know if you have any questions or any comments, anything that you need to know about it that I forgot to mention. Thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you next time.